Hello, everybody. I am Sunset Jean. Please welcome to our Akashic Record Answering the Big Question show. I have a wonderful co-host, Stacey from Sacred Kikos. Hello, Stacey. How are you today?
Hi, I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on here, and I'm excited for today's show.
I am too. And we have in a supporting role, Daphne from Relax with Daphne. Hi,
Hi,
Daphne. How are you
everyone.
today?
Thank you. Glad to be here to support you behind the scenes and looking forward to hearing some answers about the Akashic Records.
Yes, very much so. And we've already said our prayers and opened the records. And what we like to do is just to encourage everyone to follow up, ask follow up questions. We have some questions, some jumping off points. But if you want to elaborate and follow up with the questions that we're answering, or just to just feel free to follow up with the questions that we have out there. We're not doing any personal readings. We're doing mostly readings or mostly questions that would benefit the community. And so we really appreciate all of your support and all of um, your positive energy. We love getting together, and we just want to say a big hello to everybody and welcome. So let me just do said our prayers and open the record. Okay. All right. All right. Very good. So I think we are all set. So Daphne, we will see you in at the end of the show. And thank you again, everybody, for all of your help. All right. So we're going to be starting with some questions that some of the community members have posted for us, and we'll see where this takes us.
Yeah. And if these questions inspire any further questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat or come up with your own creative questions that could benefit everyone, and we'll pop them up if we got time.
Wonderful. Thank you. So the first question is, how do we know if we have karmic debt in this lifetime? If we do, what is the best way to clear it? And this is a question from a community member.
So what they're kind of showing me in relation to karmic debt, it's kind of a couple perspectives coming in. So first off, they're kind of showing me that if you have karmic debt in this lifetime, you'll kind of recognize it as those big circumstances that almost feel like choiceless. It feels like almost like you have to endure this suffering and you don't really have a choice in it. Obviously, we always have a choice, but it kind of feels like a little bit choiceless in the matter, or it feels like I just have to do this. And the reason why they're bringing in another perspective with the karmic debt, which is in relation to the second part of the question, it's as we begin to elevate our consciousness and begin to operate at a more aware state of being, we start to take responsibility for our actions. So karma, in its broadest sense, is the law of cause and effect. It shows us that our actions have a reaction. And so as we begin to take more responsibility for our actions moving forward and the ripple effects that they have in our lives and in the lives of others, and we take responsibilities for those and bring them into harmony and balance for not only your highest benefit, but the benefit for all, then you begin to erase the karma easily and effortlessly without kind of having to try to fix a wrong. Because in having to fix a wrong, it feels like there's always this exchange back and forth, where one person's at the lower end of the stick and one person's at the higher end of the stick. And so they're kind of showing me in order to find that resolution to the karma, you just begin to take responsibility. You become aware of your actions and the output of them. And you live in harmony and balance with not only in your life, but in the world, and your emotions and your thoughts and your actions, and all of it together. And there's also another beautiful thing here is the experience. So the fastest way to we'll say right karma, or to shift the karmic energy, is by taking the new action, because we can have those beautiful intentions and we can say that we would do this, or I want to do this, but until we take that action and we have a new experience of that, well, it's not really a wrongdoing, but of that action that was of the lower vibration that we are shifting through this karmic cycle, then we can move it forward. So learning from your actions and taking new actions that are in more harmony and balance with the outcome that you desire for the highest good of all.
Excellent, Stacey. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
So let me just tune in a moment. So, like Stacey said, they're also showing me this that when it's not a guarantee that we have leftover lessons that we have yet to learn from previous lifetimes. Karma is sometimes it's like it's a favorite statement, or it's a favorite cliche that we have karma from a past lifetime if something is not going well in this lifetime. And this is not always the case, as Stacey mentioned. What they are showing me is when we are moving through our lifetime and a opportunity for a lesson to be learned, and a new perspective, and a point of growth for our soul is there. It's the action, it's the challenge that is presented to us, and it's our reaction that is enabled to meet it where it is. It's when we don't meet the challenge or learn that lesson that it tends to be repeated over and over again. And let's say if you have a boss that's a pain in the butt, and no matter where you go, you always have this boss that's a pain in the butt. There is something for us to learn this lesson about authority, about holding, being hold, keeping our own power, keeping our own power, and keeping our perspective on that lesson. It's a opportunity to learn. So this karmic clearing is just as what Stacey was saying. It's a way for us to learn these lessons, to change the perspective, and it almost like lets go of this energy that seems to be in a cycle or seems to be around us. As soon as we learn a perspective and see things in a new way, it reduces the emotional charge around it, and we say, "Oh, I see, that was that," and we can move past it. So it has a lot to do with learning the lesson, and understanding the perspective, and seeing the repeated cycles in our lifetime. And it's only if in our past lifetime that we didn't get the opportunity to do this that it carries from one lifetime to the next. And it's not always a guarantee. But there's no way around it other than through it, is what I hear. Okay.
It's interesting, just as you were saying that, I wanted to tune in because they were kind of saying there's a little bit of a difference between this idea of a karmic debt and a karmic cycle. And it feels like a lot of the times when people consider a karmic debt, it feels like they have to right a wrong, or like they did something and they're balancing it out. But it really is a choice, like you were saying, and it is a choice of our soul to kind of move past and transcend this energy that we want to shift. So yeah.
Wonderful. All right, thank you. So our next question is, and just as a reminder, we want to invite you all, if there is something about the question that we're asking that you need clarification, or that you would like clarification, that you would like us to elaborate, or if there's something else that maybe we didn't touch on, please do feel free and, pop that in that's related to the questions here. Or you can pop in a new question that may be beneficial for everybody to benefit from. So the next question here is it possible to hear past life traumas without being aware of the details of that past life, either where or when we experienced it? That's a good question. Another question from the community. Thank you very much for posting.
So in essence, yes. um, and they're kind of tuning into why we can. And it's because the way we perceive it is that, there's a past, present, future, but within our fuller perspective, there is no really time. And so if you can see all of your lifetimes connected by a cord, and when you shift in this lifetime, it shifts all the other ones. And this is in an essence related to that whole idea of, karma, for lack of a better term, or cause and effect, because you are going to have the opportunity to heal everything that you need to heal on a soul level right here, right now, in every moment. And so when you begin to tune into your awareness, and we'll use the term trigger because that's when we really notice that we have something that needs to be healed or to be addressed, and it awakens our awareness. So when you're triggered about something, and you don't really know why you're triggered, or it seems like something that keeps happening over and over again, this can, and very often is, linked to a past life trauma that is asking for healing. So as you become aware of it in this lifetime and choose to consciously send it energy, to consciously look at it from a new perspective, and begin to move the energy here and now in a way that you feel like it's no longer affecting you in this lifetime, because it's showing me like there's countless ways to heal it. Sometimes it will automatically heal just through the observation of that pattern or that stuck energy. And sometimes it will heal by doing Reiki energy, using energy healing. And it's usually just from this higher perspective and awareness, and then taking a new action so that you're no longer, we'll say, a victim to what is that caused the trauma or the ease or imbalance in the first place. That makes sense. And the interesting thing is it's really kind of a more beneficial way to do it, because a lot of the times, and I get this a lot with my clients with the healing journey and stuff, they almost go out to look for something to heal. They're like, am I healed yet? What else is there? And when we ask what else is there, we're always going to be shown that there's something else to heal, that there's something else to fix. And so when we are recognizing and we're aware that it's within every moment, and that if it needs our attention, it will show up for us, and then we take the time and energy to move through that in the moment, then the healing happens effortlessly. And then we make the most change and progress, because it's not just like, I'll do that once a month. It's like I do it every moment, because I'm consciously aware, and I'm choosing to shift my attention to see this from a higher perspective, and to bring it in this healing, this light, and this awareness in order to move that energy along, to help it flow again.
Thank you, Stacey. I do agree with Stacey, and what they're showing me is, in the sense that let's just say we have allergies in this lifetime, and allergies that we deal with, allergies that we, stay away from certain foods. Let's just say we have a wheat allergy or something like this. And it's something that we work on in this lifetime, but it could have been from a previous lifetime, but it could just be a weakness that we see. Let's say you have a bad knee and it's a weakness, and, or you have, I don't, whatever it is that we have that we see as a weakness, and our strengths are all combined through our soul and our soul's memory and our soul's vibration and our soul's essence that we carry forward through other lifetimes. It's all here right now, right, and present in this lifetime to some degree. We could have been a coal miner in a past life, and now this lifetime we have allergies, but we don't know this. We only know that we have sensitive lungs and things, and that we have allergies or something. And it's okay to work on and remedy and heal this uh, ailment or illness in this lifetime without knowing. But I do have to say, sometimes the perspective of understanding where you were and what happened and how many hours you had to stay in that coal mine and why you did it for your family, and that, you were the one who saved the whole town, it means so much more. And the emotional connection, the perspective that we have on the actual disease or imbalance in our life is really impacted that much greater when we do have that information. So it does depend. I think that each and every day what we deal with, our challenges and our weaknesses and our strengths, all come from our past lifetimes, especially in this incarnation. But I do feel as though there's two sides to it, I have to say.
Yeah, definitely.
So Jennifer says, with all the changes in energy, how do we best support our bodies? Good question. I love your icon, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So kind of what I'm picking up is, obviously it's going to be different for each individual, but at the core of it, it feels like we're really taking responsibility for our energy, and we're doing things that feel good to our bodies. So some people that may be like a rigorous exercise, some people that may be sitting in nature, but it's taking that time out to have that space to integrate, to be in stillness, and to have the space for that energy to settle into you is kind of the broadest way that it's going to benefit everyone. And then there's obviously different things for each person. So looking at your diet, looking at kind of even the entertainment or the way you're using your time, if you're really distracted throughout your day, and just recognizing where your energy feels off, and then kind of tuning into what can you shift and what will feel better in that moment. And then that really brings in the space, so the energy kind of has a place to plant itself.
Interesting. Wonderful. So I feel like the grounding and the connection to our the universal source and the source of the earth, and to connect these two and to work on balance in our energetic fields, in our rest, in and awakened states, making sure that we're hydrated, balanced, and our diet is balanced. And I feel as though they're also saying that our diet is going to become lighter and lighter and lighter. And I know that in the northern hemisphere here, we're going through the summer months, and um, we naturally move to a lighter type of diet as well during this time, but they're also just telling me that with these energies, it's important to work on a lighter, smaller quantity of food. And even though food is grounding, we don't need as much of it. It will help us to feel. I feel as though that the food, they're telling me the food can be numbing to our senses and our balance and overwhelm or sedate us. Sometimes we have that food coma, and we do that because we know we're having a food coma. How many people like crave a bowl of spaghetti, you know? And it's almost like we're self-medicating, and they want us to be able to feel the energies so that we know when and where to balance. And all of these practices, and it really just boils down to one word for me, and it's awareness. Being aware of the energies and the way we feel, being in touch.
Yeah.
All right, great question. So, why is it important for us to raise our frequency?
So kind of what they're showing me is just how far reaching our vibrational energy is, and how it not only affects us, but it begins to affect the environment, the people around us, and it adds to the overall vibration of the earth. And so as we are taking responsibility for our own vibrational frequency, and we're beginning to raise our vibration and our consciousness, we're actually helping other people do that in a more passive way, in a way where we're not necessarily forcing other people, but where they kind of catch on to that light, they catch on to that energy, and then it feels good, and then they begin to emanate that. And it's kind of showing me it's just the way that we are evolving, and it's also a way that we support other people without directly having to kind of get in their business. You know what I mean? But um, we can have an effect on not only people, but the whole planet and our environment and the things around us. And it just creates more harmony and balance for everyone.
Excellent. Very nice. So, what I've been told in the past is that we are a conduit, and we as humans are the transitional point from the higher frequencies and the higher frequency realms, and the frequency here on 3D Gaia Earth. And with us grounding and receiving the higher frequencies and raising our vibration to sustain these frequencies will then transmute and translate into Gaia raising her frequency and others around us raising their frequency. It almost allows them the permission, and it's almost like the 100th monkey. It almost happens spontaneously or through osmosis. And they are letting us know that we're the bridge. We're the bridge, and that with us being able to connect that higher universal frequency here and ground this frequency here on Earth allows for everything else around us to raise its frequency. So it is primarily a service and a privilege, and it's also a way to expand our awareness. And they also are telling me when we cross over, when we leave this world, transition into the higher frequencies, or when we transition to the afterlife, it allows us to move into a level in the afterlife that is in a, how to explain it. It's not an expert role, but it's more of a graduated role when we move into the afterlife. When we raise our frequency here and open up our awareness and allow to bring in that higher frequency here on Earth when it's our time to transition and we move into the afterlife, we are in a higher realm, so to speak, of the afterlife because we've done our work here and we're not back where we started and going over it again. I feel like it's a graduation. It's almost like an ascended master, how they have to have certain, not have to, but they have certain lifetimes that they acquire to reach ascension. And then at that time, they have the place of ascended master. I'm not saying that we are doing that, but it is something like that. It is something that it's a graduation. When we raise our frequency and our awareness here on earth, when we go into the afterlife, it's a graduation of the level of realm that we are in on the other side.
Yeah, I like what you said there. And it kind of reminds me, it's like, that's why we're here to raise our vibration and to raise that density and to alchemize it so we no longer have to be stuck. So.
Yeah, alchemize it. That's a good one. All right, so thank you. Chris Queen says, how do we keep our energy elevated in these emotionally draining times?
Yeah. I kind of feel like that comes back to the other question about raising the energy. How do we deal with the raising energy? And especially during emotional times, kind of what they're saying to me is just meet your human needs. Because when we have that strong foundation and we can meet our own needs, then we can be of service to other people. Then we can help other people. Then we can raise the vibration of everyone around us in the environment. So taking that time and that responsibility to take care of yourself and to meet your human needs is essential, especially when there is a lot going on. And then moving that out to find that balance, that energetic balance and stabilization and that grounding within yourself. And then moving that out to even bring in these higher energies and these possibilities and these new solutions. Because when we're stuck in the victim role, there's no solutions. There's only repeating suffering and stagnation. And so when we can take care of our own needs and bring our awareness up, we can be proactive about how we can be of service to everyone around us. So
Very nice, very nice. So, Chris, what I was receiving from the masters is, so what they're letting me know is it's important for us to experience this human incarnation as humans. And it's also important for us to move through the emotions as they come up and to get practiced to be familiar and comfortable with the shift in the emotions. As we raise our vibration and our frequency, our sensitivity is also raised, so that when our emotions are called to be extended worldwide, or to a greater degree, it's that much more intense because we have our higher frequency and vibration. And through this, practicing to move in to the emotion, feel the emotion, allow yourself to go where the emotion is taking you. Remember who you are, remember why you're here, put things in perspective, look at things in a sense that it's not going to be here forever, and that this too shall pass. I mean, that is just such a beautiful statement that everybody does say, but it's important to move through it. But it's important not to resist it and not to wallow or stay in it for days or weeks. It's important to go into the emotion, feel the emotion, and to move back out of the emotion. And I think Stacey's Akashic record masters are, you just popped in and out. Did you know that?
Yeah, I
I
just saw that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you very much. That was an interesting question. So the next question is, why is connecting to our heart center important?
So, kind of what they're showing me is that when we are connecting into our heart center, we're connecting into that state of awareness, of oneness and awareness of ourselves and the greater world around us. And there's also this beautiful, powerful magnetic field of our heart that when we begin to activate it, we begin to have the ability to be those conscious creators of our reality, and we get to emanate more of our energy out. We get to expand more of our light out into the world. And it's also showing me that our hearts are the bridge for our own selves. So, as we are the bridge for that higher energy, our hearts are our bridge to that higher energy for ourselves and for that balance within us as an individual. And it's also, they're also saying it's so important to be in that heart space because it's part of that lesson of unconditional love, that allowance of those emotions, the allowance of our experience, the allowance for everything that's going on from a place where we're no longer resisting, but we're in the acceptance of it. And then we can more easily move through these energies and have the ability to create.
Wonderful. Thank you. Why it's important for us to connect to our heart center is they are saying that our original energetic being is a feeling being. Our human container is a thinking being. And there is the consciousness, and our soul knows more at vast information that our human brain is unable to even fathom or conceptualize. So in our heart is where our greatest opportunities are, and in our feelings is where our greatest opportunities are. This is also where the seat of the soul is. This is our connection to our divine source, and it is the true vibration of our divine soul is that unconditional love. So all of these things that are related to and pertain to our heart space is true, and I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah, beautiful.
So Leah asks, okay, may I ask how to dismantle hateful folks?
Interesting. I'm just curious, what do you mean by the word dismantle? Like, just like zap them out of your reality?
I would say disarm them.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who's being spiteful or hateful, and to
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because kind of the first thing that they're showing me is recognizing what is there for you within the pattern and why you're in that interaction. And obviously, if it's safe for you to be there, and then recognizing where you're still participating in that energy, because it's like they have to have something to hate, they have to have somebody to attack, they have to have something. And so are you putting yourself in the realms of that energy? And it's kind of like the best way is almost that removing yourself from that energy and recognizing why they are doing it, and that it really doesn't have any effect on you or the world around you. Because that's the way that they're receiving energy back. They're receiving energy for themselves by that hate, by that expression, and by other people's reaction to it. And so if they were alone, and then the energy would begin to dissipate, because there's nobody there to feed that to them. There's nothing fueling the hate when we begin to remove ourselves from it, or remove the energy that they're hoping to gain from it. That makes sense.
That's really good, Stacey. So, Leah, what I was picking up is something easier said than done, and that is treat them with compassion. Treat them with an understanding that this is their soul's journey, and that I would take back your power and do what Stacey has said, is to raise your own vibration so that it is not in that energy or in that level. It is if you're not there to resist or to meet them, for be the recipient of it, then they'll need to find unfortunately they'll need to find another release for them. But these people are I feel as though troubled and lost, and I feel as though if we pray for their awareness, and pray that they find love and compassion, and that they forgive themselves. This hate doesn't come from just being mean and aggressive. This hate comes from fear. And I think that it's important to understand that they are a soul here on earth, living out their human experience. Humans have flaws, and they are living out their experience with this type of flaw. It's a very difficult life to live, and it's not something that you would engage with. I do strongly recommend that you remove yourself from the energy in any way, shape, or form. But I think it's important to understand their have compassion, have some forgiveness, have some prayers and wishes for them to have an awareness or a new perspective on things. And I have seen that happen. It is possible. Miracles happen, and it has to do with the energy that they're living in, and the dense frequency, or it's dense energy. It's thick and dense energy that is in their life cycle.
It was
Thanks.
interesting as you were saying that. They were kind of being funny, and they're like, that's why we go into our heart space to have that forgiveness and compassion after we remove ourselves from that energy, to kind of not leave it stuck.
Yeah. It's a new perspective. If you don't see them as the hate themselves, and it's a soul going through this, and that's their expression of their feelings, or of the energy that they just need to vent, it sort of lets the emotional charge out of it, and it does not allow you to be a recipient of any of it. And I tell you, this woman, I have to give you a scenario. She was a learning, a gift for me, but it was a boss that was really very hateful and very spiteful, and had me in her sights to just vent and dump on constantly, and belittle and berate, and it was an awful situation. And what I found out is that if I understood what made her that way, what could have happened to her to make her behave that way, is her journey. It has nothing to do with me. And no matter what she says or does, it's not going to affect me, because it's all in her. And as long as I don't respond to the accusations or the assault that is placed on me, and I treat it as if she is just a toddler having a tantrum, and ignore it. I mean, it's easier said than done, but reducing the charge of emotion and the pushback and the resistance, when you allow to let people be who they are without allowing them to affect your own energy, it reduces the charge in the emotion, and it also it allows the resistance and for it to go past you, instead of you resisting it would continue that or benefit them and send it back to them. It's an art, it's a practice, it's an awareness, it's a perspective. And you'll see, I think, at one point in time in your life when this comes up, you'll see, oh, that was when I could have done that. I see now that when that person was doing that, if I would have just said, do what you want, and allow and not resist, that it would have changed the energy and reduced that charge. It I think I learned in hindsight. I know I learned in hindsight. Shoot, I was very much affected by it until I left that situation and looked back on it and said, "Oh, I see." So it's okay to learn lessons after the fact, after the experience, I think too. So thank you everybody for coming in and sharing your questions and following up with all of us. And please do let us know if you have questions that are for the benefit of everybody. Please put them in. And if you would like to also have a follow-up question about, these are the questions we're doing here are sort of like jumping off points, and if you have something that's related or something that you want to learn further or deeper or more into these questions, we can do that too. So thank you. All right, so the next question is, what are some action steps we can do to overcome the feeling of fear? This is similar to what we've been talking about. I think it's very much on point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, similar to what you said, it feels like when a lot of the times when the fear comes up, there's just this resistance, there's this pullback, there's this kind of avoidance of the fear, which then we begin to amplify it. We begin to make stories behind it. We begin to build new references that feed our ideas of it. And so it feels like the easiest way to move past those feelings of fear are actually to move into the fear, to move into what it is that scares you so much, and begin to have a new experience of it. Because, and they're saying it doesn't have to be like you physically going something that terrifies you, but it can be seeing something that terrifies you from a new light, from other references, from a new perspective, until you begin to ease into it, beginning to ask people. This is a silly analogy, but it's like if you were afraid of spiders and you know somebody who loves spiders, well, why do they love it? And I know that's like there's a lot more big fears out there that we are going on at this time, but what they're saying is we don't have real evidence of it until we get close to it. Other than that, we're amplifying it. It's this big, scary monster. And so there's steps that we can begin to resolve it through new observations of it. And then the next part of that is just recognizing what can and cannot affect you. Because a lot of these times we're fearful of things that are so distant from us, or we're fearful for other people. We're fearful for what might happen to the world or everything around us. And instead of moving through those and finding a new perspective, new solutions, and beginning to clear that out, we're actually just adding to the fire. And so all of the things that we said before, moving past it, moving back, moving past it by moving into your feelings, and then stepping back, and then having, compassion for what is happening. Because, just like with all the things in the world, it's like we may not be able to have a direct effect on it, but we can have compassion for those people who are going through those struggles. And then as we continue to send that light, we may get a new idea. We may get a new perception of what we can do, and we can begin to no longer be at the effect of fear, but we can begin to expand it into the light and begin to take new action, begin to have a new perspective, and kind of begin to ease into the feelings more. So it's like once we get through one fear, the next one we can do it more easily. So start small is what they're saying.
That was really good, Stacey. I think that there's the fear that we are talking about here is not the fear of survival. I think that there is fear of survival, like the fight and flight kind of survival is a necessary fear. What this fear is that we're talking about is the it's created. It's a scenario. We are making this a scenario in our minds, and when we are truly safe where we are right here, right now. And I think that that's a really good point to begin, is to, touch the chest area and touch your back area, touch your feet, touch your legs, and to make sure that you see that you are physically fine. Look at all four walls. Are you safe within all four walls? So the fear, it's important to put it into perspective. So the fear would be of an idea. And what we would do is to move in, like Stacey said, through the fear. What if? So what if this? And then what if that? And then what if this? And if you work through the fear and understand that throughout it all, we are ultimately, no matter what happens that causes us the fear, it's not as bad as the fear itself. The fear is the worst. It's not as bad as what the situation is that we're fearing. If we fear, I'm telling, I can remember they're showing me now that when I used to live across the street, and I used to have to run down a hill, run across the street, run down my neighbor's yard, and run into their house. And it was dark at night, and I was so afraid of the dark. I would run and run. This was like when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I would run and run and run and run and run so fast, and I didn't even want to see, because I had imagined this fear of this darkness, of this unknown. And what if a bat got me? And what if a dog came out and got me? And what if some, I don't know what it was that I had so much fear. It was so, it was much greater than what the actual reality of our safety is. And our minds and our emotions can really run away with us. So they're saying to make sure to put this fear into perspective. Make sure we understand that our safety and our well-being is infinite. We have ultimately will be okay. And when we die, there is an afterlife. And if we're there's always there's always another way for us to remedy the situation. It's the analysis paralysis, and the way that the fear comes over us is worse than the actual outcome of something happening. It is really important to understand that the fear is also a magnet, that once we do buy into this or carry this with us or have this in the back of our minds, it's going to keep coming up to remind you you're an infinite soul, you are a divine being, and you have protection, and you have resources, and we are more powerful in our energy signature than we realize. And to keep that into perspective as well. but they want you to know that the fear itself is larger than any scenario that you can work out. It's trust yourself that you will be able to, you will survive, you will be okay, you will come out the other end with no matter what comes to face us. And it's this trust in yourself, to believe in yourself, to believe in your courage and your strength and your resilience, that you'll come out the other side. But remember that the fear is the worst part of the reality, the idea, and what we do to ourselves when we either remember a fear or perceive a fear. It's very much not based in reality. Okay, so I think this might be the last question here. So the next question is, does everyone have the same experience in the afterlife? And if not, why?
So what they're telling me is no, not everyone has the same experience of the afterlife. And the reason why, it's getting along the lines of, because you create it, because you are creating that reality on the other side, you're deciding where to go. But they are saying what there is in common as they transition into those realms, once they have fully transitioned onto the other side, is that there is this expansion. There's this expansion, and it's almost like as they move up, it's like as they move up in the vibration and deeper into this, moving on past the physical, past the astral realm, and into this, it's like a remembrance of this pure love, of this divinity, of this light. And that is what is at the core, because that is the ultimate truth of who they are. But it is almost this transitionary period of creation before the homecoming, if that makes sense.
So the experience in the afterlife is one of our own soul's desire. It's our reward and our, oh, I'm getting a tone in my ear. It's our reward and it's our own creation. It's the creation that we desire. So if you're one who loves wildflowers and open fields, then this would be your experience in the afterlife. If you were one who loves water skiing and mountain climbing, then this would be your experience in your afterlife. If it is really made of our own creation, and there is also, if there are lives that, or lifetimes that we've experienced that we need a reprieve or a renewal or a rejuvenation from, there is also this, like a healing or a resting and a relaxation type of experience. And I'm smiling because they just flashed what they showed me once before, is the scene from the Wizard of Oz where they get all prompt, the lion had his hair curled and the scarecrow had stuffing done and the Tin Man was all shined up. And so this is what they're showing me, that we can have, if this is what we choose to do, is to have this rest experience on the other side. And so it is up to us. It is our own creation. It is our manifestation. A lot of times our loved ones will wait for us before they move on to this more creative afterlife. I do it's more it's more of our soul's expression. It's more of our soul's desire, and it really has a different type of um, I think it depends on how much we hold on to this physicality, this human kind of life when we cross over, and how much we are still relating to this human and denser energy when we cross over, and or how much we are um, letting go and moving on to the learning and the training and the experiencing of these lighter and higher frequency realms. I think that I think there's so much more that we have to learn, and it's not for us to know everything about the afterlife, and it is. I think it is up to each and every soul and what you truly desire and what you feel is in your soul's expression to experience, and this is. A beautiful thing. So let me see. Does anybody have any? Oh, okay.
Daphne asked if she could do one more question.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Jennifer says, my 19-year-old son would like to know how his age group can manage anxiety. Well, I think that first of all, the anxiety is based in fear. So, but I'll let Stacey go.
Yeah. So the first thing that they're telling me is slowing down, because it feels like once it hits, it's kind of like there's just a cycle. There's just like this rapid momentum of movement that keeps going and that keeps feeding it, that keeps rationalizing why it's happening. And there's a lot more evidence to validate what's wrong, is kind of what they're saying, but not enough validation of being proactive about it. And so instead of feeding into the cycles or trying to stuff them or be afraid of them, it feels like it's similar to moving into those emotions. It's similar to moving into that fear. It's something that you can recognize that it has to move through your body, and that there's nothing that was really affecting you in the first place. Well, there was something affecting you, but nothing that could physically harm you in the first place. But it was all that psychological rationale trying to convince you of this thing outside of yourself, this thing, and you kept feeding that energy and feeding that energy, and then it begins to take your power and power something of the negative variety. So in order to fix that is first moving into it, recognizing it. It's taking the time to slow down and breathing into it, breathing into that discomfort instead of ignoring it, because it's when we ignore it that it begins to cycle in the background. It feels like something we can't reach. It feels like something that happens to us. So actually taking the opposite approach and going more into it and allowing that, and then recognizing what's at the core of it, is going to be the easiest way to start to move through it. And then kind of what they're saying, the next part is like, begin to come together, begin to talk to people, begin to relate to people in a way that's proactive and where you feel safe and secure, and people can recognize what's really going on at the core. So it's like, it could be something that was small. It could be something all the way back from childhood that created this pattern of anxiety, but you're not giving it that space to kind of be unwrapped, to get to the core of it. So having that safe place to move through it and to find the seed of the anxiety and to have a new perspective and an acceptance of it is going to help move it out.
Very good, very good. And I see a lot of really highly evolved conversations going on here in the chat too. So thank you all very much. It's a beautiful collaboration. So Jennifer, I can we I wanted to go back and say a little bit more to 19-year-old Sun. Sun, I would like to invite you to consider that this anxiety is merely a new vibration and a new sense of awareness in your environment, that you are picking up on a lot of energies that are moving out of this realm, and you have a new vibration and sensitivity that will bring you into the higher frequencies and vibrations where you are more familiar with. This is consider that this anxiety is an awareness that, and I do believe that it may just be and I do understand that they are very similar to the symptoms of anxiety, and I feel as though that this anxiety is a vibration that we're not familiar with. It makes us feel uneasy and not. It's a it's a different frequency. It's like it's agitated because your frequency is not matching with the frequency that is around you. It puts you at a dis-ease. Whereas if you were at a frequency or a vibration that would put you at an ease, which is the sound healing and vibrational healing, you would be able to relax and exist without resistance. But because your vibration and frequency is at a higher rate or a different rate than what it is around you, you feel the difference. And these two vibrations are causing more friction than they are harmony. So you are the new frequency of harmony of earth and humanity. This frequency, and to move into it, embody it, and work with it, evolve with it, move out of the norms of the 3D, whether it's, I don't know, whatever it is that 3D used to eat, 3D used to do, 3D used to say, whatever those things were that your age group used to do in the 3D, they're going to be moving into something else that is more harmonic with the Earth's vibration. And you're going to build the new community, the new humanity. And this is the new frequency where you're going to be able to relax, because this is where all of us are going to be moving up to. And this is the evolution I feel in humanity. I feel like it is your perhaps life's mission, or your mission in this decade, to find a way that you can exist in harmony. Find that harmony with that frequency that you're feeling. Don't stay in the agitated lower 3D dense, whether it's, I don't want to stereotype, but if it's, video games, or, whatever it is that is a lower vibrational frequency, find a higher vibrational frequency that you will harmonize with. And this is the way of the future. And I just want to thank you for leading the next generation into the higher frequencies. I truly believe that. And consider and think about this and see if there's something that you can find that might be in harmony with your vibration that will help you to be at ease.
Beautifully said.
Creative Event says, sending peace, love, and light to all. Thank you, Creative Event. And you're making me hungry with those cakes. How lovely. How lovely. Mm-hmm. So that will be that will do it for the end of the show. I just want to bring Daphne up again, and thank you, Daphne, very much for all of your assistance and help and support, so that Stacey and I could go into the higher realms, and Daphne would be able to work on the questions. So we really appreciate that, and thank you everybody for being here and for supporting us. And let us know. Give us your comments in the let us know your reaction to in the comments below. Thank you for watching now. Thank you for watching later, and please do go on over to Stacey's YouTube channel, which is Sacred Key Codes, right?
Yeah.
Let me just take this down so I can.
Yes.
Oops. And let me just take this down. All right, there we go. Stacey at Sacred Key Codes. I wanted everybody to see it there. And also, please go over and subscribe to Daphne's YouTube channel as well, Relax with Daphne. And all of their information will be in the show notes below. And thank you again, everybody, for being here. And I'm looking forward to the next time. Let us know what you think of the new format of the show. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Daphne. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. Your support is greatly appreciated. If you enjoy this content, hit like, share, and subscribe. Remember to click the bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks again. Bye.